cover that he is really running a clear white supremacist campaign. He has stood there and called whites that tried to stop the certification of an election, which is tantamount to trying to overthrow the government. He's called them hostages, while they are real hostages in the Middle East. At the same time, imagine if you were a family member of a hostage in the Middle East, hearing him calling people that tried to overthrow an election a hostage equivalent to them. And then he's going to call people of color that are coming from Central, Latin America, Haiti, animals and all kinds of names that dehumanize them. You may disagree with a policy, but to make people less than human is exactly the kinds of things that blacks went through in America, being called 3/5 of a man, that we're now dealing with different policies based on those that are on the right that want to do it for different strokes for different folks. I remind Donald Trump, his own in-laws were immigrants that had to be brought into citizenship. So what makes their blood different than somebody's blood from South America that may be seeking a better life? And we need to have a policy that would not have them come in a way that would be contrary to our view. But dearly, we can't act like their blood is poisonous.
Rev, if I'm not mistaken, 1, 2, 3... 4 of his 5 children are children of immigrants.
That's right.
4 of his 5 children are children of immigrants. I don't get it. Like, so did that they poison the blood of America when they came here? Are his children poisoning the blood? How would he feel if politicians were saying his children and his wives poisoned the blood of America?
And by his definition, he participated in that, by his own definition. I mean, this is absolutely offensive beyond politics. We're not now talking about Republican versus Democrat. We're not talking about Biden versus Trump. We're talking about the absolute sanctioning by a lot of people of a man that is going on a clear white supremacist kind of campaign to be the president of the United States while he entertains dictators. I mean, he didn't meet with Auburn. He hosted him at his house in Florida. He praises Putin. And we actually are sitting up here saying that half the American voting public is entertaining putting this type of man back in the White House. If that doesn't get us up and energized to really vote, I don't know what will.
Mark, talk about how this kind of weakens the fabric of American democracy. I saw a poll recently that the number of Americans who endorse political violence at the moment is 73%, and that is the same as it was at the height of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. I mean, an extraordinary number of Americans now say political violence is okay with us. When we keep hearing that what is happening in the United States at the moment is a win for Vladimir Putin, is a win for Xi Jinping, connect those dots for us, because it seems to me that that's pretty important part of that picture of how, as you have Russia and China propagating one particular model of politics, the American model just looks very fragile and precarious at the moment.
Caddy, I think you're absolutely right. You know, we have to decide for ourselves, who do we want to be? You know, right now, at every embassy in Washington, D.C., their ambassadors, their intelligence chiefs are writing reports back to their capitals based on what they heard yesterday from Trump. And it's chilling and it's alarming. And for someone like myself, who has spent, you know, the majority of my career in the third world, in the Arab world, and at the end of it, in essence, you know, running our pushback against Russia, against Vladimir Putin, you know, this was the notion of liberal democracies versus autocracies, of freedom versus tyranny. And that's just, you know, who we were as Americans. And I think that can be called into question now. And the polling number you just cited, chilling, alarming, and you really have to you have to think, you know, what has happened to us. One final point on this, and I think this is a really important notion. You know, where are the General Millies, General Mattises? General Kelly has been vocal, but we need kind of the leadership of the national security structures who were apolitical for so long that they need to step up and they need to say these kind of comments, bloodbaths, advocating political violence are not okay. We know the Republican Party is having trouble doing this. We're the national security leaders, particularly in the military, who ordinarily don't do these things. Again, it's a call out. Where is Milley? Where is Mattis right now when the country